What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of Redline Racing Garage. You ready for this? A lot has changed. What's up guys, welcome to Redline Racing Garage. So today we're going to be getting into some exciting stuff, so I suggest you guys stay tuned. We're going to be doing a intake install on the CLA, and we're also going to be doing a turbo blanket on this thing as well, just to minimize the heat inside the engine bay as much as possible. But before we get into the install, I did want to take you guys out on the road and just do a couple pulls and a little bit of driving, just to give you guys a comparison of what it sounds like before, and then once we install it, we'll do some how it sounds like after. So let's get on it. We're gonna jump in the CLA and we're gonna get some before sounds. Mind you guys, this is basically a bone stock CLA 45 AMG, so the comparisons are gonna be very authentic, because this thing doesn't have a downpipe, it doesn't have anything else other than these modifications that we're gonna do to it today, which is a intake and a turbo blanket. So I suggest you guys stay tuned. This is gonna be sick. Let's go. Alright, so that'll do it for the before sound. Now let's go ahead, put this thing in there, and then give you guys some after sound. The most exciting part you guys came to see. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're basically ready to do the install. We're just going to let the engine bay just cool down a little bit, because we have to deal with all the bolts off of the shield here and all that stuff. So we're going to let this thing cool down. But in the meantime, I did want to show you guys the intake and the turbo blanket. So let's start off with the intake. This is a CTS TURBO intake, and it's the biggest one on the market, guys, a 5-inch, and this thing is bang for your buck. I did go to WiseTech or WizTech or whatever you guys want to call it. So I did go on their website, and this is probably about 35% cheaper. And they also have a 5-inch. So I don't know if maybe it's the material, but I'm fine with that. We'll be running this one right here, and like I said, bang for your buck for a 5-inch intake. And this is basically what it came with. So it looks like a pretty simple install, so we're going to be getting into this. And then also a PTP turbo blanket. I did get this off of VRP Speed, one of the really good suppliers for aftermarket Mercedes parts. So I really recommend going to visit VRP Speed. And I also did get some charge pipes when I had the CLS off of VRP Speed, so highly recommend them. So I got this off of them. Really nice turbo blanket. So like I said, we're just gonna let this thing cool down a little bit longer, and then we're gonna get right into the install. Super excited. I really want to hear what this thing is going to sound like, so stay tuned, guys. Let's pop this thing in and let's get some after sounds of the CLA 45 AMG. Stay tuned. All right, so let's get right into it. A couple tools that you're going to need to remove the airbox is a T20, and then you're also going to need a 5/16 to remove the 3 bolts off of the heat shield. So that's what you're going to need to remove the stuff, and also a flathead just to remove the clamps there. All right, and 2 things you're going to need to install the turbo blanket with the intake: hardware supplied. The only thing you're going to need to install the turbo blanket is a 10mm to replace these 3 bolts here, and then you're going to need a Allen key just to install the adapter to go on the turbo to get the filter on there. So let's get right into it.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.
Alright, so stock filter is out with the adapter, and as you can see, it is not in the greatest condition, so really glad that we're putting in something different and that it's not OEM. Look at this, guys. Let me grab a tape measure and measure this thing out. Alright, I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. That's a teeny weeny right there. About 2.5 inch. That's about it. So that's your stock filter. And then you have your bad boy. Let me show you this way. Oh, right there. 5 inches. So we're doubling up, guys. We're actually doubling up on the size. And then they said size doesn't matter. Bigger is always better, guys. What do you want me to tell you? Don't let them tell you otherwise. Bigger is always better. In this case. Only in this case, guys. Alright, so as you guys saw, I did have to move the ECU a little bit and move the box out of the way just a bit. Also, the vent here, also had to move that. Now, I was actually thinking to actually get rid of this part right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hold on, let me move. Yeah, you guys see this? This might be a kind of restrictive place, restrictive area, where I think obviously it's meant to be there to kind of divert the air. in a way, but I've seen a lot of other aftermarket companies, they actually sell a bigger vent with a lot more airflow. They say that this is restrictive. So I don't know. Maybe this is something we can do down the line where we can actually just cut that piece out, maybe bore it just a little bit more. But yeah, for now, let's just leave it as it is. Maybe I might be able just to find this or buy this separately. Who knows? We'll see. But for now, we're gonna keep that. So yeah, kind of free it out of the way so you can kind of, you know, maneuver a little bit better just to get the screws and everything. But that's basically it. So right now I'm thinking maybe I should remove the shield. Maybe not. We'll let this thing cool down just a little bit. I don't want the bolts to strip or to break. I shouldn't say strip. I don't want the bolts to break because they're super hot. So I think we'll do the intake and then we'll deal with this a little bit later. I just want to get this thing in here to see how this thing actually looks. And also, don't forget your map sensor, guys. This is very important. Remove it. All you need to do is twist it and it'll come out. Don't try to force it because there are 2 tabs on both ends. Don't try to force it. You gotta spin it and then it comes out freely. So we'll put that aside and let's get this thing in there.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
All right, so the intake is in. It's looking so much better. Now I did see the guys on the Facebook group, CLA 45 AMG. For some reason, they run it without the cover. Now I don't know if that's basically just for looks or not, but I don't really think it's a good idea. You're probably gonna be catching a lot of hot air. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the cover back and I will hit them up and see why it is that they run it without it. So we are going to be doing the turbo blanket, so there's going to be less heat, so we're going to eliminate most of the heat. But still, come on guys, like what I'm thinking is there's still lots of heat in the engine bay. So I do think that running the cover just makes total sense, but I do agree that looks so much better. But so we don't have to collect all of the hot air, especially now in summertime. I'm gonna rock the cover, we're gonna put that back, and then let's get started on that turbo blanket. Alright, all done. Check this thing out, guys. I know you can't really see the intake. Now I kind of assume why the guys are not rocking the actual cover, just so it looks a little bit nicer, gives the engine bay a little bit of color, you know, not looking so stock. But like I said, we're gonna rock it like this. We're gonna have it covered just for the summer. Maybe we'll do something a little bit later on, but I do like this turbo blanket, guys. This looks really, really good. So it looks good and it's functional. We're gonna have a little bit less heat in the engine bay, which is really good for the summertime. But I know you guys have been waiting till the end of this video to see what this thing sounds like. So let's start this thing up, give this thing some revs. Let's take it on the street and let's do some pulls. guys, so that'll pretty much do it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. So we got the turbo blanket on there. We also got a intake on. Sounds really good in my opinion. I'm not exactly sure. What I'm thinking is probably we're gonna do a blow off valve on this thing, and who knows, we might actually do a stage 1 because this thing is basically ready for a stage 1, or we might slap on a downpipe and go straight to stage 2. Like I said, who knows, but that'll pretty much do it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.